What's up, everybody? We're here for episode 2 of this little experiment we're doing. Tonight, we're going to hear from Ryan and Joey a little bit about their collection history and their background. We've got a couple of different team collectors, but also some set collectors and everything. But before we jump into that, why don't we just anybody got any updates they want to share? Any good insight in anything? I've got the Celtics. They re-upped Coach Joe Mazzulla, which really has me pretty cranky. I didn't want to put the golf clap way out. You
It
don't
was
like
sarcastic,
that
and
either. But no, I don't have any pickups. I've stirred the pot a little bit with some of the influencers in the hobby, but we won't get into that tonight. And yeah, I don't know. Anybody else get any updates they want to throw out there while we wait for a few people to log in?
I certainly do. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan. You can start.
You're good. I was just going to mention kids. You the same?
Actually, I'm trying to avoid the kids this week. So
my kids just started school this week, so that was a fun time getting back in the swing of that.
Yeah, actually, mine was going to be similar. I started school because I teach, so I went back to school this week. So it's a trip, man. Like with a 2-month-old, now I'm back at work, and then obviously like picking up, trying to get this off the ground. It's difficult with obviously working now again full time. It was nice to be unemployed. I also actually have something I wanted to share, a pickup I'm excited about. So way back when I started collecting, the first box of cards I ever opened was 0910 Panini Limited. And I pulled a Tim Duncan Glass Cleaners patch out of 25.
Oh, nice. Great set.
And
Nice.
dude, I was like so young and I had been in the hobby for like a week. So I just like pretty much sold everything that wasn't Kings. Like I was a Kings collector, so I sold everything that wasn't Kings. And I've been looking out for one for a long time to try to pick it back up. I actually missed out on a buy it now in May or something. But one was up for auction last week. And I think I actually had a better patch. So I actually came in this week. So it's not the exact one that I pulled, which I actually know the whereabouts of. And the person who owns it has not entertained my offer to swap cards and pay for them to ship me their card and vice versa. But I'm very satisfied getting that back. It's been something that I've been trying to do for a while.
Joey, we talked about this before we hit live. This will also be an audio only option. So if you could please describe that for the people sitting at home.
Yeah. So this is from 2009-10 Panini, their first year. It's essentially a design where the card is a backboard, and right above like the square, the white square that's on the backboard is a patch cutout. And this one is a it's not focusing, but it's like a 4-break white, black, and gray stitching of Tim Duncan out of 25. And it's actually, I think the last one other than the 101, I have everything for the rainbow. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. And I feel like it's rare for Spurs patches to be like very chunky and stitchy. So it's nice that it's not a trim patch. Yeah, that's what's going on over here.
Any other updates, or should we jump into the main conversation tonight?
You jump in.
Wow, this is surprising. Adam doesn't have like some banger that he wants to, some Wilt Chamberlain patch or something.
I mean, I think it is his birthday today. If he wanted to share a Wilt Chamberlain card,
I know, I saw that. Well, Adam, did you see the all the Wilt Chamberlain? Oh no, was it Wilt or Crean? I think it was Wilt. Bill Russell signed cards from one of the Celtics collectors.
I'm very familiar, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. But yeah.
All right, that's a sidebar. I don't know. Let's just go. I'm on the East Coast. Let's go east to west. We got to fly over the Rockies before we get to California. So, Ryan, do you want to give us a little update on what got you to this point, why you're here with us, what you're collecting, and what you're focusing on these days? And Adam and I will really interrupt you as we go.
And I'll really interrupt you right now. If anyone wants to jump on and hang out with us and share with us like Nuggets cards or whatever cards, there is the QR code up. You can scan the QR code, and we'll also throw the link in the chat every so often. But yeah, anyway, go ahead, Ryan.
Well, first of all, we talked about this before we went live, but I was going to have you guys guess this player. You see the number?
Oh, yeah. I think I have it, but I'll give some time.
This is a, let's see, late 2000s era, like Nuggets jersey for those of you listening.
Andre Miller?
This it's like the white. I think it's maybe the away jersey. So they had the baby blue jerseys, right? And then this is the white version with like the gold, black, and blue kind of Nuggets logo and all that. And it's number 3.
Is it Ty Lawson?
You got it.
Ah,
Oh dang!
Good job, because I had the Iverson last week, and actually Iverson wore this. I think he was only with us for 2 years, but he wore this same one. We gotta guess at Iverson in the chat.
Yeah,
But yeah, there you go, man.
too. I thought for sure it'd be Iverson.
look at him flex that back.
And kind of to go along with that, I got this card to just kind of show off real quick.
Oh, very nice.
That is
Nice.
12-13 immaculate.
Nobility nameplates.
Sorry
Yeah,
for the glare, guys. But
Yeah, it's hard with the mags.
That's why you don't put sleeves on them. Let them get scratched up, and you can just pull the cover off and have the card on nice.
Yeah, I should prepare that for next round.
People give me a hard time because mine are all scratched up, but that's the reason. I can get quick instant access. I don't care about the
in and out,
scratches.
right?
Yeah,
Nice.
funny, I was thinking, like, I probably don't take care of my cards like I should, and they might get like scratched and dinged every so often. So I don't know. I feel like a kid like putting them in my bike spokes, but it's fine.
Adds character.
Yeah, we got a participant waiting in the studio. Do we want to bring him on now?
Oh
or-
yeah.
If you want,
Yeah.
you can join in on the conversation as you tell your background, your history.
All right, let's do that.
Hey guys,
What's up, Evan?
how's it
Evan?
going?
Hey, Evan.
Good to finally talk to you guys. I'm just gonna just sit here. You guys can continue doing what you're doing. I'm just
No,
gonna
you
pop
should
in.
add in too.
I'll add in some stuff. Don't worry.
You can tell Evan's a good deal younger than a couple of us because he's got the trendy over-the-ear headphones. Yeah, he's really
Those, it's a local company, so I gotta support.
Nice. I do occasionally do the headphones too. So
I'm so old
Alright.
that I love them, and they've come back in style. That's how old I am, buddy.
You can pull out your
Yeah.
old ones.
Yep, the plug-in
Uh,
ones are back in style.
It's great stuff you've been putting on YouTube lately, Evan. By the way, it's really
Thank you. I know it's been pretty negative. A lot of it's been focused on some negative aspects, and I'm wearing my Grim Reaper hoodie right now, fitting the vibe. But I appreciate that. Thank you. I think a lot of it has not been spoken upon in a while, at least. And Steve actually kind of brought some of those issues to light on his story, as well as Ryan, and that kind of prompted me to make that most recent video. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, it's good though, man. We need those kind of voices in the hobby, and to me, it's not negative. It's just bringing some issues to light that. And maybe we'll get into those someday. Maybe not today, because we could probably talk about
Yeah,
that.
no, we got to build some positive. We got to build a little momentum before we start crapping all over. It.
Right.
We don't like.
Absolutely. So I would
Yeah.
I would love for you guys to continue what you're doing. I saw that Jokic logo man. Looks kind of crazy.
We'll pull that out in a second. I got a little story.
That's a
on that.
great look at that pro transition right there. So Ryan, why don't you tell us what led up to that Jokic logo man that I
Sure.
put in the preview
Let's
post?
kick it off there. That was actually purchased after I got here. Let me do this because I know I got the blur. So the other one that I showed off with it was this Murray. That's probably a little
yeah.
better, right? So that's a 16-17 on a We'll
So
have to
his
figure out
rookie year,
better
right?
lighting for this kind of stuff.
That's his rookie year.
Yeah. So
Nice.
so that came up actually right at the start of the boom. Probably right around early 2020. And Steve probably knows this situation because I posted about it on Blowout back when I was active over there, is that I saw kind of people getting into the hobby and buying base cards at that point in time. I was like, well, I've got a bunch of base cards and these base cards just going up and up and up. So that was actually a guy, I think he works a card hobby now. Splash Brothers HK was his Instagram handle. Yeah, you know that guy? So he approached me and a bunch of other like Nuggets collectors, Jamal Murray collectors. He's like, I'm selling this. Do you have any interest? He wanted $5,000 for it. And I was like, I don't have $5,000, but I've got a bunch of base cards that people are buying for ridiculous
About
prices.
that base. About that base.
Yeah, so I went on a selling spree and sold like just a ton of stuff and came up with pretty much most of the money. I've spent a little bit on my own just to get it done, but he was really cool. Gave me a couple weeks, grabbed that one. And then, that was just awesome to, buy a card like that with a bunch of base cards. I just was amazed by that. And then this one's kind of the same situation. This is the Jokic from that same year. Let me see if I can. Sorry if this is blurry, guys. Maybe for the edited version, we'll like put these in as photos or something. I don't know. But that's the 16-17 Immaculate Jokic logo man. It's actually one of the few stitched ones. And that's kind of why I really wanted it as well.
Right, yeah.
Because, they transitioned to like the rubber logo man at some point. Logo men are like way out of my league at this point, but back then when you could reasonably afford them, I did grab a couple. So that's kind of that story, but I kept kind of going with it through 2020, 2021. And actually a lot of my, I don't know, the stuff that's popular now, like the PMGs and the rubies, I got all that stuff back then. Some of it prior, but a lot of it was coming up. And what was interesting is people are selling that and then buying base cards. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm going to do the opposite.
And you've got a if anybody follows your account, Ryan, I mean, you've got a sneaky stash of stuff. When you throw up a story sale, I'm always like, where is he coming up with this stuff? I mean, and I know, and you've been able to, I think a lot of us that were in the hobby for a while were able during the boom to kind of leverage that, right? And I mean, I sold off a bunch of stuff and I bought a new mountain bike, or I was able to like sell a bunch of Tatum base rookies and buy a bunch of Paul Pierce exquisite stuff that Adam knows about. But you've been able to keep a stash hidden aside where like you did a story sale a few months ago, maybe just a month ago even, where all of a sudden there was like late 90s stuff in there, Antonio McDyess PMGs or something like that were just like crazy stuff. I know you've had, you've got a Duncan PC that goes, back to that you've been able to pick from some Akeem stuff. But yeah, you've done a nice job of leveraging cards to move forward with for sure.
I appreciate it. That was kind of my whole strategy, and it's always been that way. Is I like to, if I want to make a bigger purchase, I'm going to sell cards to get there. I've always really cut it off about $200. Like if I'm out of pocket, and if it's beyond that, I want to sell something to get there. Because I don't like to be in debt from cards. I actually have been in there before, and it's not cool. So
you've all been there. Don't worry.
That's kind of my strategy. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually what I was doing. Yeah, back in that kind of 2020, 2021 time period when people were, a lot of people like unearthed these really cool cards from the 90s, and because they're getting back into the hobby, and they're like selling that stuff, which is, as we see now, that's the most desirable thing to have. But when that started popping up, you could get like a PMG. I honestly, like in 2020, you could still get a PMG of a common player for like $100. I think I bought a McDyess. It might have been 2019, but around that general time period. But I bought my McDyess PMG for like $100.
Yeah, I remember I saw Mutombo picked one up for $100 back then. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and now they're like,
and they're great cards and they're collectible, but it wasn't to the level where people were like spending tons of money on some investment potential or whatever it is nowadays, So, do we want to go?
Well, before we transition, so this is not for content at all. This is an honest question for you, Ryan. So you and I talk a lot, both like in DMs and group. What are you collecting right now? Like, what is catching you? Other than like the vintage political or pop culture stuff that I appreciate and the tobacco stuff. In terms of basketball cards, is there anything that is like, are you finishing sets, team sets? Like, I honestly don't know what you're up to right now.
Yeah, I'm going back a little bit to finish off some of the Topps Chrome stuff, like 96 through 09, 10. So I finished the refractors, the golds, the black refractors. Actually, I'm a little bit off on the black refractors. I'm trying to get like base now and like X fractors. So the more common stuff that you don't chase, and it's not as fun because you just get on ComC. And then actually I've been going after this year's photogenic. I think those are really cool. So that's like a more modern thing. I really haven't touched modern in a couple of years just because prices and stuff, but I saw those and just like the action photography was really cool on them. So I've been going after those a little bit. And then just here and there for my sets, like the political cards, as you spoke of, Steve, I do go after like maybe like some of the late 1800s, early 1900s, like political cards. Those have gotten like a little bit propped up nowadays and hyped up. And when that happens, I'd go to a different direction. That's like my cue to turn and check something else out. So I'm kind of back to basketball, actually. It's been fun.
And what about you, Joey? What brings you to this space as far as a collector, or what's a little bit of your journey, or what do you focus on these days? And again, similar. I truly don't know. I wouldn't, other than the one set that I know you're after really, intensely. I don't know much about what you're up to these days.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the journey, and I'll try to keep it brief because I'm an extremely long-winded person. So cut me off if you need to. But
we will.
Yeah, I'm one of the weird Sacramento Kings fans that lives in Southern California. So back when I was young and the Kings were playing the Lakers subsequent years in the playoffs, I grew up in a family that raised me right and raised me to hate the Lakers. So it just so happened that because the Kings were kind of the underdogs, obviously they had an exciting style of play. Yeah, I know. I get some support from that on that in here. So, but because they're the underdogs too, and they had an exciting style of play, like I've always kind of gravitated towards that type of team. But then it just, they really stuck with me because they were always kind of the rivals of the Lakers. And so that's what kind of started my fandom there. I didn't really have much of a collecting history as a kid. Like I mostly just did the Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh stuff because my brother and I would just play those games with each other. We didn't really collect, we just played. But in high school, I really got into fantasy basketball. And then when I started making money, I was like, well, I want something to spend money on because that's what you do. You burn money when you make it. And then it just went, I think I was doing random like searches of sports related things online, and I found the Blowout forums back when it was a pleasant place to surf and navigate. And so I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's really cool that I can connect with my team with cards that contain pieces of jerseys that they've worn in games, with cards that have autographs of players that chronicle specific moments. So that's kind of how it started. And then, of course, when I opened my first blaster boxes, I think I opened a 0910 Upper Deck and Prestige. And then I was also a huge Kevin Durant fan. So in that blaster box, I got this Kevin Durant bonus shots orange out of 300. And I was like, what the heck? I can open packs of cards and pull my favorite players' cards myself. That's incredible. So that kind of got me hooked. So that's kind of like a brief collecting history. And since I picked up the Kings as my team in the early 2000s, 99, 2000 or whatever, I only collect players from that era. So I think I've mentioned probably to Adam before, like I don't really go after like Oscar stuff, even though obviously he's the greatest player in the franchise. I don't really go after Mitch Richmond stuff. Like I just go after the stuff from 98 and beyond, because that's when Jay Will joined the team, and then Chris Webber was traded there. So that's kind of where that was. Can
I just interrupt for one second? I'm just curious because we haven't. So I absolutely love the 98-99 draft class, and I actually think some of those sets, like 98-99 Chrome was great, but 98-99 Finest is one of my top 2 or 3 all time favorite sets. Do you go back and, because that was Jay, right? That was Jay Will's. He was in that draft class, right, with Davis and Pierce and. You ever go back and rip any of that stuff when it was affordable? You do any of those hobby boxes?
No, I didn't. No, I mean, I think my only time ripping was in 2009-10. I only ripped a few boxes there. And that was it. I actually didn't even keep going even into 2010, 2011. So
interesting. That's a really fun rookie classic. If people aren't familiar with the 98 draft, and it gets lost in conversations. It's not the 96 class, but with the lockout and everything, it does get lost in translation a little bit. But if you go back and look at that, Al Harrington, there were just so many, whether it be role players, all-stars, Hall of Famers. It was a great draft class, and a lot of players that really sort of forged the NBA into the next generation. So if anybody hasn't looked into that draft class, I highly recommend it. And they've got some fun cards for their rookie year for sure.
Yeah, and it's great for me because Jay Will obviously was drafted that year, but Peja didn't come over till that year. So that's when his rookie
Right.
cards are, even though he was drafted with the 96 class. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, in terms of like where I'm at now, it's funny. It kind of relates to what we were just talking about. And like, I think the last YouTube video I put out, and I don't really have plans to put out more since we're doing this now, but it was about how I forewent a offers and an attempt to purchase a Logo Man, because it's like Logo Men are crazy these days. I was looking at a gosh, I can't remember the player. I think it was a Lamar Odom and some obscure random player like from the 2000s, like Luke Jackson or something, dual Logo Man, and it sold for like $3,500 on eBay recently, and that's just insane, right? Like that's insane. So I've actually forewent that and I've been picking up collections of players. So I showed like a 30 card Mike Bibby collection on my Instagram recently, with several patches and stuff like that. And then Steve, I know you're gonna like this one. The other collection I picked up was an Isaiah Thomas collection, and this was like the highlight of it. It's a rookie game worn.
That's insignias.
That's insignia. Yeah. So it's because because of the lockout and they didn't put out Immaculate until 2012. This is actually a game worn rookie patch, and it's numbered 1 out of 2 with obviously that like crazy crown patch, right? So so that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm like, to me, this is a really high quality card, and I think it's like for both those collections, I got almost 40 cards of both those players with crazy patches and autos, rookies, 101s, whatever. And it was probably, I don't know. I mean, I made an offer on the Logo Man. It wasn't responded to. So I guess I would have had to up my offer. I imagine like half of what I would have paid for the Logo Man. So that's kind of where I've been recently.
So a couple of things. One, very sneaky, not spoken about thing, and actually it doesn't get any coverage, I don't think. But the 2011 draft class does have a lot of game use stuff in 2012, 2013 releases because of the lockout. So they were able to acquire jerseys, so it's not just flawless. And Drew Tang NYC wants to know a little bit about what you got on display behind your head there, Joey. And I think those are the set you're chasing. So I don't know if you want to show those off a little bit, or maybe, what do you got 2 left to go in that set? So if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I try to display some cards without displaying, like driving my wife crazy. So I literally have like in our office, I have this like 2 shelf. I have the bottom shelf and the top shelves, I guess 3 shelves, like space to display my cards on the top. And I'll try to make this legible, or I don't know, something you can see. I have a set I'm collecting. It's the 2015-16 preferred stat line memorabilia patches. And so that's a 26 card set. I have 24 out of the 26, and they're displayed here. This other one is memorabilia. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. You probably can't. It's a signed hat from the 012 Kings team. And I got that from a Kings charity auction. And then the rest of my my cards that shuffle around are down here. So these are like some of the cards from my Bibby and Isaiah Thomas collection recently, as well as some signed photos. Like there's, you can't see it because of the glare from my window, but it's Mike Bibby driving on Kobe. There's one of Bobby Jackson driving on Kobe and stuff like that. And as well as like a custom made art piece of Tyreek Evans during the historic 35-point comeback against the Bulls during his rookie year. So that's kind of where I put things. And I try to limit it to that, but yeah. So like you were saying, Steve, like I have two left in that set, just, Clay and Dirk. And actually it's funny, like I've passed up on some because the patches I've seen from that have come up. I think I've seen like 2 Clays in the last 5 years and maybe 1 Dirk. And that is just because I didn't love the patches. Like the only Dirks I've seen are nameplate patches, and those aren't my favorite patches. I like the chunky stitching. I don't necessarily like the like thinner nameplates. And then the Clays, just the Warriors, I guess jerseys back then were like more screen printing. So I haven't found one that I like, and I'm kind of just to the point where I think I might suck it up and purchase one of the Dirks. There's one on eBay now that's, I think, overpriced, so I haven't purchased it yet. But
I think Adam had a great great reason to spend your money for you the other day when he tried to convince
Adam's
you.
trying to talk me into buying it, which is fair. Which is like, and he was saying, if a clay comes up and that Dirk sells and I didn't buy it, I'm going to regret it for a long time. So until the 5 years go by until I see another one. So yeah, so it's a fair point. And I'm really bad at selling cards. Like Ryan, you were talking about how you sold all those cards during the boom. Like I'm so bad at selling cards, especially if they're PC. Like it would have been a great idea to sell some of my Halliburton cards during that finals run. And I thought about selling them and I was like, oh, I have to take pictures of them and then list them and then price them and then negotiate and then ship and then worry about them getting damaged and then worry about buying them back if I like them enough. I mean, that's why I have them in my PC, so I was like, maybe I'll just not do it. So I'm really bad at doing that, but I'm trying to move some of my non-PC stuff. Like in that IT lot, there were like 30 other cards. I sent some to ComC and then I try to sell some more, try to fundraise for that Dirk, see if the seller ends up accepting an offer of mine.
Can I ask you a quick question, Joey, actually about that set? How do you store all of those booklets? Do you have them all in those mags, like displayed fully out, or are they closed?
Yeah, they're displayed fully out. I pulled up the cousins because obviously that's what should be displayed because I'm a Kings collector. But I bought a bunch of these booklet mags, and so I store them in there. They're on a top loader holders, one touch or top loader holders. So I store them like that. They're all up there on my shelves. I think I have 23 out of the 26 up there right now on my shelves. The only one I don't have up there right now is the Kemba, which I just haven't processed yet. But yeah, eventually, I mean, I'm kind of out of space, so I need to figure out where I'm going to put the last three when I get them all. But that would be a good problem to have, I think.
Yeah, got to negotiate with your wife, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough when I'm like, no, we don't need to spend like $1,000 to like go and visit family. I need to buy a card.
Yeah, the one touch booklet mags work great, and Adam, you might know of other sets other than I'm thinking. The only size they don't have is the vertical trifold. So like preferred, I think it was preferred had like matchups, right? So it'd be like Brandon Ingram versus Jaylen Brown, would be a patch on two sides, and then like the fold would fill in the middle. They never came up with the vertical trifold, and I think in football, Adam, they probably have even more variations. But other than that, every booklet that Panini's ever produced in basketball, at least, I think fits into one of the 2 or 3 sizes that are available in one touches. So they work really well. They're just tough to. It would work well for Adam. They get scratched easily because there's really no like sleeves or anything for them, but.
Like you said, that's the only ones I haven't seen a open displayed book for is the triple panel matchup ones. I have one of those of Isaiah Thomas and Kevin McHale, I believe it is, with some nice prime patches. But yeah, you can't really display it open. There's no form or case. But they do have the vertical dual and the horizontal as shown there. Booklet cases. Those are the only cards I display really, or the booklets. I have a few on my desk just because I worry about the autographs. I don't want them to get faded or anything.
Yeah, Adam, you got a nice display behind you. What's going on back there?
Oh, this is just some like memorabilia stuff. My basement's covered and that kind of stuff. But my office up here, I threw a few things. There's some just signed helmets, players I collect. Like this is Deacon Jones, and some Bengals stuff. I'm a Bengals fan, so I think this one's a Esiason, for example. But I got some Dave Callen's Stein stat helmet over here. Peyton Manning football. Chad Johnson, just some random stuff I threw behind me.
I do not have any cards behind me. I've got action figures.
I see a jump back there.
I have a few booklets on my desk. They're over here.
Yeah. All my stuff's in boxes and binders.
There's one on my desk.
Oh, nice.
The tag 1 of 1s.
Oh, yeah. There's the tags.
Yeah, that's what's that? 12-13? Is that 11-12 or 12-13? It's a Celtics team.
13-14. Yeah, it's
13,
Celtics
14.
all tags. McHale, Dennis Johnson, Robert Parrish, Reggie Lewis, Larry Bird, Bailey Howell, and Xavier McDaniel.
Xavier McDaniel.
Really nice.
X-Man.
Yeah, that's like the only stuff I really display is stuff like that. Just it can't hurt anything. It's not going to get faded or hindered by light, so I just leave those out.
Yeah, see, I'm bad with that stuff. I'm like, I want to enjoy it, so I'm just going to put it out. And what happens.
What's on my desk? I was going to go in this for the whole origin story thing. For those of you who can't see it, it's a Garbage Pail Kid card. It's a gold, Dry and Ryan. I don't remember what
But put it
that
back
was
up.
from.
Put it
Yeah,
back up.
we can do that. That's what's on my desk. That's the one I display.
So they're in diapers, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is when we were going to go into origin stories. I was going to quickly go through mine, but that's part of it. Is that's what got me into collecting cards as a kid, was actually Garbage Pail Kids. So I still collect them to this day. I put together the whole set of original series, which ran from I think like 85 to 88, 89. So that's actually what got me into cards, because I was a elementary school kid. Mom was cool enough to let me collect those, and then that went into baseball. And sadly, like 86 was about when I started collecting. I was not buying 86 Fleer. So I missed out on that, but got into baseball, then got into basketball probably in the late 80s, early 90s. But yeah, it's been kind of a lifelong addiction, let's say, with breaks here and there.
I know. So I mean, Ryan, you're about my age, and Joey, I'm not even gonna ask your age publicly, but I will say, collecting in the '80s. You brought up '86 Flair. One of my very early collecting memories is hanging out with Scott and Bob down the street shooting hoops, and they were a few years older than me. And this was probably like '88, right? So like all the hype was Jordan's rookie by then already. Jordan's rookie and Jordan's second year card, and those of us that weren't fortunate enough to afford an '86 Flair, but even early then, like we talk about the hype came later. It was or by the late '80s, the '86 Flair Jordan was now it was a $200 to $300 card, and you hope to get one that wasn't damaged by the whack. Like we talked about all this stuff, but even back then, that card was something that was like folklore within the neighborhood, like more so than any other card. That and from Boston, it was a Roger Clemens rookie, started to hit like the late '80s. But yeah, those '86 Flair cards were intense. And side note, Jeff Edler just said, Preferred was such a great product. It so was. And if we could all go back and bust 2012, 13, 2013, 14 Preferred for whatever it was, we thought it was overpriced back then. And if we could get that quality now for like $150, we'd all be very happy people.
Yeah. And I mean, think back to those products. It's like game dated patches, finals patches, great on card autos with really good designs, multi booklets like Adam just showed with like really great themes like Team USA, Celtics, like all time greats, Hall of Famers, whatever. It was just, yeah, it was a great set. Silhouettes were preferred back then, right?
Silhouettes, yep.
Were preferred too, yeah, the silhouettes.
During the lockout, they didn't know what to do, so they gave us Team USA jersey relics and short relics and Dream Team autos, and that was just to like fill the void. They didn't know what else to do. And I mean, what would a Dream Team Larry Bird or Magic Johnson modern day product look like, right? I mean, that was Panini Hall of Fame in 2011. It was loaded with great stuff, and it was literally just please pay attention to us type stuff as they were looking for us to buy stuff.
Yeah, I actually got a couple if you want to. I can share them real quick from that 12-13 season, because I know we were talking about it last time, right?
Yeah.
I brought a couple out. So we were talking about the little D here on the jersey. Let me see if I can show it on the screen on this Nuggets jersey that I've got. So I grabbed this Ty Lawson.
wow.
I got a lot of cool Ty Lawson stuff. I really liked him. Let me see if I can. Still figuring out StreamYard, but there we go. This is a 2013 Immaculate Insignias, and it kind of has the little
Twins.
What is that right around? Yeah, there you go. No, cousins that you showed, or sorry, IT that you showed. But yeah, that's a really fun one. Let's see what else is cool.
Oh,
here.
that's so funny. Is that Insignias is referencing that patch at the neckline?
Yeah,
I guess that's what this is too. Okay, I didn't
So
realize.
it's the team insignia, Joey. So it could either be at the neckline or starting with the middle time that Adidas had. They also had, before they did the championship tags on the back, they had team logos. Like I've got a couple Jay Crowder that make the full Mav symbols. Yeah, so on the back of like the Celtics had a really clean like shamrock looking one. So yeah, it's the team insignia, and not every team had the neckline one like the Nuggets had or the Kings had. Every team had at least one on the back of the neck there above the
was that like late 2000s era. Well, speaking of that, since you brought it up, this is actually not 12-13, but this is 11-12 or 10-11 maybe. Um, Another Ty Lawson. That's actually the like the Nuggets logo there.
Yeah,
Um,
that's great. Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's 0910. He was 0910.
yeah, it was 0910 because I was trying to think when they first started. It was 0910, so it was that year. So that's a kind of a cool one. Now I got a
That's
mess
a
of
unique
cards
jersey
sitting
design in
around
that
here,
picture
but
too.
yeah, I wanted to show off a couple of those, and then getting back to 12-13, I'll just show this one like as the last one. I thought it was cool. This is, I think you talked about that 12-13 dump, Joey,
Yeah.
last time you were
Yeah,
on here, and this is I think one I picked up during that time period. So this is 12-13 flawless patch auto of Fat Lever, but he also signed the jersey portion. So I
yeah.
was figuring when he got the card, he didn't know where to sign, so he may have just signed that by accident. And they told him, no, the actual space is up here at the top. So that's another one I wanted to kind of show.
We
Ryan,
need to do a collection of like the '80s players that did that by mistake. I think Akeem did it. Robert Parrish signed
Yeah,
in the wrong spot. But Sean Beasley wants to know: do you collect Manimal cards? And I know you do. So
yeah, yeah.
answer
Okay.
him real quick.
Well, I wasn't gonna go into all this, but we'll show one more because yeah, I got a cool one actually from 12-13. This is probably one of my favorite Fareeds.
Whew.
ooh, nice
Let
catch.
me Yeah, so this
Flawless.
is
That's
twelve
rookie.
thirteen
Flawless rookie
flawless.
game used. Wow.
Yeah, game used. So that jersey right there, I believe, is probably the one I have on, or very similar to it. So this is like the emerald. I don't know if you can see it. It's a vibe. Um, People still want free because I've had people over the years like try to get this one off me, and I'm like, nah, it's probably my favorite Fareed rookie year card. So
I'm sure I've
uh,
told you this, but I can't tell you how many posts I got sent to me when I first started talking about Jay Crowder collecting for Kenneth Fareed because they just thought they were the
oh,
exact
yeah,
same player.
that's true.
Two
Yeah,
muscle-bound black men with long hair. I mean, I
yeah,
probably got more offers to buy Kenneth cards than I did Jay cards for a couple.
that's
It went
funny.
on for years. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, 2 or 3 years. I just kept getting those.
Yeah, because it's similar time frame that they were kind of
Same
more
draft
like in
class
their
from a card
prime and stuff
perspective. Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, and he has a huge following, right? Like he was like such a hustle guy. Like a lot of people really liked collecting him, right?
Played for
for,
Team USA.
yeah, Fareed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And he was like that time period for me. I know a lot of people maybe more recently got into the Nuggets because they've been doing well and we won the championship and all that kind of stuff. But like that early 2010s era, I just loved because you could go to a game for $30 and you could have a great time. You could sit in decent seats, and that's when I kind of picked up my Gallinari PC, which we can show off at some point. But I got kind of a it's not as good as your Crowder collection, Steve, but my Gallinari PC is working its way up to being maybe a quarter of what yours is for Crowder. But yeah, that's when I got into Gallinari, collecting him. Ty Lawson kind of a little bit before Gallinari's time, but yeah, like Kenneth Faried, those guys, just really fun. And that's when I was going to a lot of games back then too. So
How long before we just started sounding like a bunch of salty old guys? Was like, back in my day, I could walk uphill both ways to go to a game for $30 and get a free beer when I went.
yeah, I mean, I love going to games nowadays too, but I do miss those times when we were like a 35-40 win team or whatever it was, and you could just get cheap tickets and just have a good time. So
Well, the Kings are a 35-40 win team, or they're going to be, and they were last year, but their tickets are not ever since that one year they made the playoffs. They are milking that for all it's worth.
Joey, with all due respect, you can just say the Kings are going to be a 35-40 win team and just let that sit because that
In
I think is going to be on
perpetuity.
repeat for
Yeah,
the foreseeable future. And when they do get a player that is worth investing in, they will trade them away or piss him off. So.
absolutely. That's our way.
yeah, and I would say the cards in that time period as well, like you kind of mentioned, I believe, Steve, they're trying harder, right?
Yeah.
Because Panini was trying to win people over. Upper Deck and all that was gone, so they're trying to bring people back in, and so they created cool cards like that to try and get people back in. I think that was the whole point of Flawless, is to be like a real high end set, maybe to be similar to Exquisite, which people seem to love. So they definitely tried harder. And as the years went on and the patch windows got smaller, and I hate being that collector too that says back in my day it was better, but in a way it kind of was.
I mean, Adam can correct me here because he was collecting. He knows more about the era. But even when, like, Topps expected to get a license when they lost their license, like, they really thought they were going to get it. And on their way out the door, and I think Upper Deck did it too with some of their Exquisite stuff, they kind of tried to give the hobby the middle finger of, like, look what you're missing out on, right? Whereas, so even on the way out the door, and Adam, I mean, whether it be UD Black or Exquisite, I mean, you know the stuff better than I do, but they were trying to show, like, look what you're missing out on. Like the ex-girlfriend putting on the hot dress and walking away from you, right? Like they were trying to say you're missing out, whereas Panini's just telling us we don't care about you anymore. And we know Fanatics doesn't care about us with all the AI stuff. So it's a different atmosphere for sure and a different environment.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like when Upper Deck lost the license, there was kind of like this glimmer of hope of getting them back because we'd missed the ex-girlfriend kind of situation. And like 09 Exquisite brings back a lot of like throwback sets to like 03, 04, the heritage designs and things like that, but adding some additional foils and different new players and things like that. So it's just, they kind of went out with a bang and not just dumped the product like they obviously did in 09, 10 SP game used, but numbered to 17 Logo Man or whatever. But in some of the premium sets, they really went out with a bang and threw out some really unique products, even Topps with like 09, just like the Topps jumbo laundry tags and stuff like that, things you're not ever going to see again. The material just isn't available.
I think a big part of that is what we're seeing with Panini right now is just the money aspect. Like the money was not like it was back in 09, 010 as it is now. They know that people are going to buy it anyway, so why put in the extra effort to try to go out with a bang, so to speak, which is kind of a bummer when you look at it like that. And then the next company that's going to be taking over the license is also not that great in my opinion. So it's almost like it's a weird time for cards and just that whole aspect of it.
For sure. I mean, at that time in 09, 10, when everything's transitioning, before cards weren't selling out at ridiculous prices. I mean, that transition period, I mean, National Treasures, when it first came out, from a transition of a football product from Donruss Leaf and Playoff to a basketball product in 09 onward, I mean, it was a $400 or $500 product that wasn't super allocated and super sought after until a few years later. And the product then stands the test of time, unlike the product today. So, I mean, you go back to like 09, 10, nicknames, they have some great cards in that set that are still crazily sought after. Bird's in that, Oscar Roberts in that, beyond Kobe. I mean, so many people. And now they do the same set. And like, I mean, I like T-Mac, and T-Mac just had one. He didn't even inscribe. Like, just the difference of a few years is you go from having guys who've never inscribed their name and autograph inscription combination before, and then you get guys who sign in every product and can't even do the little extra T-Mac inscription underneath. So just like the getting the players on board and the product designs and everything just went from we have to do extra in order to win you over to we're going to sell out regardless. What's the point?
And you know what? To your point, Evan, but what's really short sighted? I'm no business guy, man. I don't. My retirement fund, I got a guy for that. My wife's an accountant. I'm a psychologist. I don't know any of this stuff, right? But being in the hobby, when Upper Deck went out, they went out with dignity and integrity and having good products, and it 100% gave them a second life, whether it be Michael Jordan only stuff or Flair Retro, which was all unlicensed or collegiate, but people chased and opened it, and they wanted it because of the quality, and it opened up their opportunities for Marvel to continue with the NHL. Like it gave them I'm assuming profitable because they've kept their license on most of the stuff, and now they're doing Looney Tunes and DC and Goodwin Champions. Like it gave them something as opposed, and I think those opportunities were there for Panini, whether it be WNBA or fighting for the WWE license or fighting for the Marvel, right? Like there's opportunities to still be a collectibles company. And I think they've lost track of that because they're just chasing. Yeah, they can take that hat off your head, that main hat, put it in a Cooper Flag card, and somebody's going to pay $2,000 for an Evan Warren Cooper Flag relic. So why bother going and getting Cooper Flag's game used jersey? You know, so I get it, but I also think it's very short sighted. And I think a lot of the business model in the hobby right now is short sighted, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and to that point, like with UD and stuff, like I mean, I don't know anything about hockey or hockey releases or whatever, but like when the Back to the Future guys do the card talk every week and they go over the releases, like it still sounds like UD hockey stuff is reasonably priced. And I don't know how like the market is and whether there's an explosion in hockey like there is in other sports, but it sounds like they're still designing good looking cards. They're still doing good things. And I know they were never perfect and stuff, but yeah, it's just like you wish that there could be that out there, right? Like where things could be, like you guys said, good looking and affordable. And like you said, with dignity, I think that was a good way to put it. But with all that said, like I will say that the nice thing about the just explosion of things is there's so much being made, released, designed. Like there is good stuff that can appeal to anyone, and like even for cheap. And like Ryan, you mentioned it with the photogenic stuff, and like in the beginning in 1920, that first year of photogenic, it was pretty basic with like one parallel. Now they've expanded the design usage, or like the tech that they do on the parallels to like the laser parallels and the fireworks and like all that stuff. And it looks great. I think somebody on Instagram, I don't want to say the name wrong, I think it's JP Collects.
JP
has
Collects,
like an insane photogenic PC, and like with all that low numbered beautiful stuff. And I love the Donruss lasers, and you can get like, I think those are great looking cards, especially in 24-25 Donruss, and it's very affordable because nobody cares about it. So it goes both ways. I think like largely you're right, but I think the beauty of like collecting is if you collect what you like, you can find something that meets all your criteria, which is awesome.
Should we turn this into like a drinking game for the people at home? Like anytime we say like a hobby cliche, like collect what you like or something, like they can have a drink, because it's so or hobby positivity, hobby community. No, I agree with you, Joey, and I'm interrupting here because we've hit the 45-minute mark. I know we've goal, and I know we have a few things to plug before we wrap up. I don't know if anybody has any final thoughts. If not, I want to thank Evan for joining us and taking the leap of faith of being our first participant. Evan, if you want to plug anything that you have or direct people to your channels at all, but I really appreciate you just on a whim hopping on with us, and it really means a lot that you took your time to join us. So thanks.
No, absolutely. I don't have anything to plug. I mean, the name is in my name right there. So if you want to follow me, go ahead. But
okay, so I said this to Joey when he's showing a card at the start. We also have an audio-only format that people might listen to. So please share your username.
My name is Pristine Paper on Instagram. Pristine_paper on Instagram. So if you want to follow me there, go ahead. Same on YouTube. But yeah, I do want to say thanks just for allowing me to join in. I know I am pretty inexperienced compared to the wealth of knowledge that all of you guys have collectively. So this is more of a listening journey for me today, and I've definitely learned a lot just from this episode. So yeah, I just want to say thanks, and I think I'll probably try to join in the future, and either whether in the chat or and through this way again. But yeah, I think what you guys are doing is great, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Well, I really do appreciate it, bud. And as far as where it goes, just throw out a call out to anyone listening that does listen to this. Next week's episode, we're hoping to do a little bit of, I don't want to call it listener feedback type stuff, but we really want to hear from people that maybe have followed us. I mean, I think there's a lot of hobby friends that we all know and some people we may hope to get to know. But if anybody out there has any topics they want to hear us spitball around and ideally join us to talk about, definitely DM us. We're hoping to kind of leave the agenda for next week open and just really take some ideas from people that are following us. My final thing is I just want to give a shout out to Kyle from Wax Museum Podcast. He was gracious enough to have me on for the most recent episode. And, he's a content creator that's been doing this for many years now. He's at several hundred episodes. And one of the reasons he wanted to have me on is to give me a chance to talk about this venture. Behind the scenes, he's been nudging me to try some content creation over the years. And, his message was really about the more enjoyable, just collecting focused, community focused content that's out there that's better. And even though he releases his stuff on Thursdays and we're live on Thursdays, there could be some overlap there. He's been very supportive. So want to just give a thanks to Kyle, and you guys can hear my monotone Boston accent on a couple of his episodes throughout the years, but most recently on this week's episode. So if you're not familiar with him, definitely give him a check at Wax Museum Podcast. Great stuff.
Yeah, and on that note, I'd also like to shout out the Back to the Future podcast because, I was on there and they were really courteous to, obviously we're brand new. They've been at it for years. This is their third season doing the show, and they brought me on to talk about Hoops Hobby Hangout on YouTube. So, and we're really kind, and obviously they moved their recording time. They used to record or usually record, I don't know what to say, but they record same time as us, Thursdays 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, and they moved it so that they could have me on and stuff. So that was obviously really courteous, and they were really cool about that. And just the fact that they've been at it for so long, and are really willing to have like a new idea on that's just getting started. It's obviously puts it out there to a lot of people, and so really appreciate Chad and Ricky for having us on, and that was really cool. And obviously, if you're not following them, make sure you do that and subscribe to them, as well as our channel and our Instagram on the Hoops Hobby Hangout on YouTube and on Instagram
and Spotify and Apple
Podcasts. And Apple Podcasts.
This will probably be up tomorrow. I'm gonna do my best. And I've been trying to do like kind of mixed down versions with like a little cleaned up audio to re-upload to YouTube. So if you guys want to catch those the day after, click the one in the video section as opposed to the live. And I believe it saves like a little cleaner video. So some of the cards that are all blurry on the stream might be a little cleaned up so you can see them better. If I get fancy with it, maybe I'll be able to put an image in there too. I got some freeware application for video editing, and I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm getting there.
We can also just take our cards out of their protection, and then it'll look great. But I think I'd be the only one willing to do that.
I'll leave the no protection jokes aside. Adam, anything on your end to sign off?
No, nothing. I just want to make sure everybody knows very clearly that any of the tech stuff that they appreciate, I did none of. So I don't want to take any credit for it. I'm useless. I'm lucky to be able to get on here. So, but yeah, the no protection side of things, I'm all good with, and all assets and all sides are cool there. But can't do anything with tech.
How many episodes do we go before one of us shows a slabbed card as part of our PC? Should we?
Yeah, I think we could all probably do that.
Get out of here with that, Evan.
You gotta kick her out.
Almost did tonight.
Right, why don't we call that a night then? And like I said, anybody that has any ideas of stuff we want to, we have our own backlog of stuff that we want to talk about over the upcoming weeks. But I hope we've shown that we're super flexible and just want to chit chat with you guys. And again, just like Evan joined us and has been smiling the whole time, give a place for people to hang out. So we hope more people join us. If you have ideas that you want us to talk about, feel free to DM us, and truly appreciate everybody that's been in the chat. I know we haven't responded to everyone, trying to multitask here, but thanks for joining us, and everyone that listens, follow up from here. We appreciate that as well. And we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.